High school auditorium.
Well, maybe this is like our poster child moment for a new city hall. Somebody just take a picture.
I did.
Why do you always like a step ahead?
I don't know how good it is, but I like to get where you're from. That's a good one.
Right. No kidding, we tried.
I want to know what those
Bob, how's it going?
I figured you
I just haven't had a chance to respond yet. So, thank you.
You can finally cover the station if you do now.
I think it's surprised you are off the table.
We should have,
I didn't get it.
well, and if Matt's not here.
Sit on my couch and have it.
Yeah, technology.
Time to go.
Grab the chair out of my office.
No, I'm okay. I've been sitting all day.
All right, it's 3 o'clock.
Oh, what's happening?
We're rolling.
You want the gavel?
Hello, we're gonna. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. How's the hearing back there? Is everybody able to hear my voice? Okay. So my name is Carmen Lodato, and I am a council at large here in Ravenna, but I also chair the planning committee, and my fellow chair members are Councilwoman Amy Michael and Councilwoman Christina West. We do have several other members of council here, but I want to be clear, this is a committee meeting, even though there are several other members present of council. So we are here today to discuss data centers, and before we get into more of the nitty-gritty, I want to explain some of the evolution of how this happened. So this is something that I've been hearing about in the state of Ohio in general. Central Ohio has a very prolific problem. There's about 200 of these data centers that are currently in the state of Ohio. And there's been alarms raised by several communities in terms of noise pollution, air pollution, water contamination, runoff, the lack of jobs, the ones that they promised to bring, but then the permanent jobs really aren't there, and so the trade-off's not worth it. And so it's something that was kind of on my radar, but I hadn't really heard of any around here. So about a month ago, we were talking, and Ms. Michael brought it to our attention that Talmadge was considering putting a moratorium or a ban on these, and we started discussing, well, if they're coming to Talmadge, that's kind of close to here, maybe we should consider this for Ravenna to protect our citizens from something like this coming. So Monday night at council, I spoke about what I would like to come up on my committee meeting agenda, which was slated for Monday, and I wanted to discuss data centers. And it was particularly imperative to me because the following evening there was going to be a meeting in Shalersville, which is right next to us, about a prospective data center. And also Wyndham last night had a similar meeting in their community, and these are Portage County communities. So I would like to have this conversation in this committee with that broad sense of this is something that I do think is harmful to our community and to other communities of Portage County. Yesterday, I went to the county commissioners meeting, and we do have some of our county commissioners present as well here, because my concern is obviously for Ravenna. I live here, this is where my home is, but also for the county in general as these things are coming. And it's a conversation whether or not to stop or allow, but what I would really like the conversation to also be is if they are coming, communities need to have a chance to put things in place because these things are going to stress the power grid, they're going to stress our water supply, and we need to know what technical questions need to be asked, what kinds of answers we're looking for to responsibly respond to these requests when they come into our community. We don't currently have something in there. And so ultimately, I think the most responsible thing to do is to put any of these types of applications on hold until we get a chance as a city to discuss the possible impacts to our residents in every way, and make sure that we have those things codified and put into our newly adopted, as of Monday night, comprehensive master plan. We currently have no language when it comes to structures and developments such as these. So that's first. Secondly, I just want to address really quick, why are we coming here Friday at 3 o'clock? Believe me, this is my spring break, so this is kind of not my idea of fun exactly, but it is because I want to allow as much public comment and input as possible. Like I said, this was planned for Monday. We discussed this at the previous council meeting. I will give a chance during this meeting for public comment, and you are more than welcome to attend on Monday. It will be also on Monday's agenda. We will bring it up there as well. But this allows everybody opportunity so we can get as much feedback, a temperature from the community about how everyone's feeling about these, what your concerns are, so that we can address those as your elected representatives. So we're here at 3 because there were other meetings previously scheduled. We need to have our council clerk here, we're hoping that we will still be able to send her home at 4 o'clock, but we'll see. But we needed to fit it in with our other meetings and again allow for the public comment. So I've already talked about my concerns with these data centers, but I wanted to allow a time for the other members of my committee to also speak if they wish about any concerns that they have. And then I also have my daughter here, Allison. She is an aerospace engineer. What I'm hoping she'll provide is some technical guidance, because if we do get to the point where we want to discuss as a city a responsible way to bring these in, we need some technical insight on how these things operate, what questions we need to ask, and how they need to be asked to make sure that we are keeping everybody as safe as can be. And protecting our communities. And then I will allow for public comments.
Carmen, I do have stuff that I would
Okay.
like to say, if you don't mind,
please.
Christina. I
No,
don't know where
how
you
about
are,
it?
but I'm ready to go. I have paperwork, and I also want to clarify what Carmen said as being true. I have been watching Talmage. I'll send our council president forwarding articles of data centers in other areas, other states. I've stated multiple times, this is something that we really need to get ahead of, because this is our community and this is the town that we all love. And to me, there is nothing more valuable than our environment. It's priceless. And I am seeing so many articles from other communities where other communities are stepping up and banning them. So that's a huge red flag to me, because I don't know enough information. I don't have a degree in this, but I do have common sense. And when I start seeing states banning these, it is becoming terrifying to think the thought that when you are looking at air pollution, noise, you're looking at the amount of water that is used in these facilities, and our drinking water, that's priceless. We take pride in our water supply that we have. And our building department and water department stated there is not enough water. We met with the water treatment plant. We didn't, Carmen did by herself. And as what the requirements that they're looking at, currently Ravenna is a Class 3 water plant, which is, they stay under 5 million gallons a day okay? So we would currently only need a Class 3 water supply operator to staff 20 hours a week since we are reducing staff. We have reduced staff. But if this were to happen where we would end up acquiring a data center, we would have to go to Class 4. And we would have to have another operator, which is costing more money to our residents. So the amount of water flow that goes through these systems doesn't give you enough time to properly clean out E. coli. And again, these are just general questions that were asked because we don't know enough about these. The other question, I talked with our fire chief because there are people in Columbus dealing with this right now. Fires are completely different than a regular fire. You need additional, totally different apparatus to put the fire out, different equipment, different training, and you also need more staff, and we just went through more staff. So there's a whole overall picture that needs to look into, and not even counting the electricity that's going to be used. And I know some of these come in and they put in their own additional electrical boxes for their own electricity, but there's still no guarantee. Also, the sound. There are residents that live on Lover's Lane. There are residents that live on Freedom Street. There are people that live on Peck Road and Chestnut Street. You know, we have a lot of areas. Once this is up in, that they put an apparatus up, okay, that even if some of these buildings have sound barriers, we don't know if it's going to be effective or not until it's built. And after it's built, it's too late. So no matter where it's located in our city, there are going to be people that are going to be possibly victimized. And I have a problem with that. It's going to affect possibly the value of all of our homes. And I don't see an economic, at this point, effect for this personally, because some of these promise they're going to have, from what I'm reading in other communities, some of them promise that they're going to have 30 people, they're going to have this many people, and then after they're up and running, they usually maybe need 2 people to run them, if that. So that right there, to me, it just doesn't seem to equal out. And again, I may not be getting all the correct knowledge from people in other areas that I've spoke with. We haven't received any other information yet to know enough. And I think it's only smart for the residents in Ravenna and the businesses in Ravenna, especially the hospital being right across the street. If an electrical surge went out, and I know they run on generators, but again, we don't know any long-term effects. And that to me is terrifying. This is my home. And to me, no amount of money is worth selling this away. This is priceless. So I'm in favor of whatever we can for a temporary moratorium until we find out more information. Why should we not be any different than any other community around us and states as well? And I'm hoping Ohio at a state level does something about this, because I think Maine has mandated the whole state. So right there, that is telling us all something. People, look, other communities are doing this. It's not just Ravenna. We are just trying to protect what we own. So that's what I have to say. Thank you.
Christina, did you want to make?
I mean, I really don't have much more to add other than, I really want for myself to be able to make an informed choice on this. We don't have enough information. And we haven't had enough time. This has happened really quick. All of a sudden, it's all over everywhere. So for us to have the ability to make an informed choice and put a pause on this to see what impact it could have on our community, and to have ordinance and things in place so that we can, be successful as a community. So, I agree with also exploring some moratorium options just to give us some time. We want to be able to do this right. So, and it has to be right for our community, it has to be right for our environment.
And that's what the city of Kent did. City of Kent just passed a moratorium. It's allowing them time to evaluate and work with their zoning person on what kinds of demands that we would put on something like that, what type of regulation. Currently, these things aren't very regulated. That's part of the problem. And allow that process to take place. We currently just don't have it in there. And so, again, this is just buying us time. So, thank you. Did any other council members wish to make a comment? Mr. Karas?
Yeah, I have a statement, and it's probably pretty redundant to what other people have said. But I think it's important that we make clear this is about understanding data centers as a land use citywide, not responding to a single proposal. And we're putting a temporary pause in place so that we can work properly. It's clear there's a lot of concern and interest around this. We've heard from a number of voices directly and indirectly affected. At this point, I think it's important that whatever action City Council takes is clearly grounded in a citywide planning purpose and not tied to any one proposal. A temporary moratorium tied to a defined study process allows us to step back, evaluate impacts like safety, infrastructure, zoning capabilities, and come back with a policy that's well thought out and defensible. That's
Thank you. Any other members would like to speak? Mr. Maravich?
Sure. Data centers are providing us a service that we've not, certainly. Data centers provide a type of service that compute capacity has never really had before. Like in a single individual rack, they used to use between commonly like 5 to 10 kilowatts, like essentially you're running 5 to 10 microwaves at the same time for just a whole stack of servers. But the density and the power requirements are so much different. Data centers can use, like just the individual components can use so much more electricity that you're looking at anywhere up to like 70 kilowatts. So like almost like 60 some odd microwaves running at the same time just compared to 5 to 10. So like there's so much heat that's involved, like the energy, the impact on water, like it's a very complicated issue, and it's going to take us more time to really work through these details to make sure that we're allowing these businesses into our communities in a way that our community can safely interact with them. It's like a healthy relationship for both. But until we know what that safe, correct way of proceeding, it's I feel that there's a lot of unknowns right now for the community at large, and there's a lot of communities that have had issues with data centers and the impact that they can have on quality of life. But like you're saying, once something's installed, there's the capacity where things can kind of be like a grandfathered. Like if we get one that has like a lot of noise from that generator, because they have to have a very high uptime for reliability. So that means that it needs that kind of electric. It might not run at full load, but it needs it very consistently. So the concept that a generator, at a very large one or multiple, can be running for a very long extended time, like that can have like vibration things, impacts on noise, and a lot of other factors. So I think we need to take our time and be diligent with our approach on this.
Thank you. I've read that too about the vibrations impacting the wildlife and things around these. Does anybody else, Mr. Moskin, Dr. Kalfi?
My comments would just mirror Council President Karas's comments about the nature of this exploration of this project, and we do need a lot of information on it, need to be very careful in how we proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Moskin?
Yes, just a little bit. I know there's concerns about several homeowners that have contacted me in the last day, and the other thing, there are, I didn't count how many, a list of different businesses in that area where this is proposed, and I believe it could have different types of effects on those businesses. Not only the hospital, but there's a nursing home nearby and assisted living. And most of the time, those people are there because they have, I'm saying most of the time, some type of health problems. And there are other businesses there, and I believe that's a big concern as well. And it was mentioned about the noise, and I've I've read a little bit very quickly since I found out about this. And one thing that I haven't seen in everything I've read is the decibel rating in the immediate area and going out even just a short distance. I've learned quite a bit about those things, but that's my concern without repeating what the others have just mentioned.
And just to add, just as a member of the committee, we are looking at this as a citywide.
Yeah.
This is something like that this is not a particular location. We are looking citywide on how we can do this, how we can put the proper procedures and things in place so that this can be safe.
There's only so many areas in our city that
Right.
would be able to withstand something like this. So no matter where it is, you're going to have residents in that area and businesses. So again, we are limited and landlocked in our city. So economic development is a factor as well on, what is going to happen, what is the result of a data center coming, and again, the environment, that is the key.
Yeah, and property value, because they carry a negative stigma. And I mean, there's no getting around that. And whether or not we know the depth or the details, I mean, it's just how we've come since Monday's meeting, where I thought honestly that we would be doing this as a symbolic gesture to stand in solidarity with Shalersville. And it's come to all this, but I'm glad for it. I appreciate everyone coming here and being patient. Allison, if you have your presentation about some of the more technical aspects about how these things actually work.
Oh, okay.
Oh, does it show up on the screen? I don't know how any of this works. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Lodato, here to hopefully give you some more information about these data centers. And
A little louder.
oh, yeah,
You can
sorry.
raise the microphone up.
Would it help if you came up here and used this microphone? If not? Okay.
Yeah, I'll just try to talk into. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So here's like a typical layout of a data center. So what's most important here is that, I mean, Tyler's mentioned the racks and stuff, but also the generators for the backup. Within these generators, most AI data centers use turbine engines for these generators. And then also the cooling units here. And now the most important thing I found was the transformers, which weren't really in this diagram, but here's a typical layout for what these would look like. So the power here is that what my mom told me is that they are having their own substation, and most of these data centers operate 24/7 a day, and they have to tap into these transformers for electricity. So, yeah, and they, like I mentioned, they use the turbine engines for backup generators that run continuously.
So let me stop you and make it clear
Yeah.
that as a backup power source, it continuously it runs simultaneously with the regular powers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the purpose of these substations, they allow data centers to convert high voltage electricity from the grid. And through these, they are able to like step up the voltage and then step down. Because if they don't do this, then they will like fry the electrical cables. Oh, I don't know what happened there.
Is it the cord?
Looks like this.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, here we go. Sorry. So because of this, they require a lot of power, equivalent to thousands of homes. Therefore, it will affect the grid here in Ravenna. So I was able to look up a graph here, and in that other corner here near 2025, you can see almost double the price of these transformers. And these aren't just normal transformers from your house and stuff. These are special custom-built transformers, and they're very hard to make. There's only one manufacturer in the U.S. that makes these special type of steel to manufacture these, meaning that the price of these have doubled over time, and compared to the average price of electricity per kilowatt hour seen is also correlating with that, meaning that your electricity bills will definitely be affected by this. So again, the problem here is that these transformers also tap into the electrical grid that will, increase the cost. Again, these backup generators, Again, they operate 24/7. They use constant fuel consumption. So I'm just assuming, I don't know a whole lot about this data center, but I'm assuming that they're going to use like a general gas turbine engine that uses air intake, compresses that, and combusts it to exhaust it to create that power. Now, to do this, they also have to inject gas into it. So a good question is to be like, what kind of turbine are they using? Is it going to be gas? And how much gas are they going to use? Like natural gas, stuff like that. Because these also have effect. These take a lot of power to run. So, yeah. Again, other areas of concern people have already mentioned, the noise pollution from the fans on top of the building. Now, they might tell you things, how they're going to mitigate these, but it's still going to cause some type of like vibrations and noise. It's not going to completely eliminate the impacts. You know, other environmental impacts, the water impact, land usage. Now they might say they're only going to start with one, but they're probably going to try to expand. There's other data centers like I've seen in Memphis where they have expanded, and people from a mile away they were able to get these like conditions, the breathing conditions, and some people have died from this like a mile out. So, yeah, the quality of air is definitely affected in these. So, I think some questions that would be useful to ask them is, again, do they plan on incorporating multiple substations in the following years, and how they plan on expanding, not just this AI data center, but multiple? Do they have the correct permits for generators from the EPA? You need a permit for certain generators, and you need to make sure that they have these. And again, what type of turbines are we talking about? Gas or steam? And, you know, with that, what type of gas? Also, how many transformers do they plan on having? Yeah, and how ways to mitigate noise pollution and other things. That's pretty much it. Well, they need it from the government too. They need permits from the government about how many generators can be operated. So that was the problem with, I don't know if you guys know about Musk's AI, Gronk, but he built a huge data center in Tennessee, and he didn't have any permits for any of his turbine generators. And he was lying about how many were operating. So I think that's very important to look into.
Okay, well,
Thank you, Allison, for the information. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Proud of your knowledge, young lady.
The visuals are very helpful too, so we appreciate that.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there a way that you can email that to me so I can send that to Chelsea, that if anybody requests this, that it'll be available for public records request?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if your email's there, we can absolutely do that. So
Or
we
if you
can put
send
it
your
on the
email
website
to
as
Chelsea.
well.
Yeah, if you send your email to Chelsea, she can forward it.
I'll give you Chelsea's email,
Okay.
and if you could
Or it can
send
be on
to
our
her
website even, I guess. It'd
Do you
be
want me to-
easier.
After or?
as soon as you can.
Sure.
Well, not like right this second, but I mean. Okay, so the next portion of the meeting that we will be going to is public comment, but actually, can I get a raise of hands of how many people want to speak to?
And if there's anybody, if you guys see anybody in the back that wants to speak, let us know so
Yes,
that
I
they can
can't
get
see
up
out
here
there.
too to speak. I don't want to leave anybody out.
Okay, so I'll just kind of go back there. I don't know what your name is, but you're welcome. Denise, would you mind going to the podium? Do they have to do their whole name and address for the
No.
record? Okay,
And
just their
then-
name?
Just a name.
Hi, my name is Denise Brostowitz, and I want to thank you for being proactive on this issue. When I heard that there's maybe a data center coming in, I like to do my research, both pro and against, cons, and that. I have only found 2 data centers that were positive coming in. They are both located in Georgia, and that was because they really lawyered up and had everything written. Even their NDAs were disclosed to the public, and that was the only way. Everybody else had negative impacts. Some of the things that I found were the promises of the jobs and the amount of money that they're going to bring in for the jobs. The jobs are well-paying, but for a short time for construction. It is usually not utilizing local citizens for their jobs. They bring in their own companies. Afterwards, I know it's been said, little as 3 employees. I have seen a little as 5 employees. Average, depending on the size, can be 100 to 200 employees. Those employees, again, are not usually local residents. As far as the drain on the resources, we've all seen data as how much water they use, how much electricity they use. They increase the local electricity rates by driving up the overall demand. That puts a strain on the capacity, which forces utilities to invest in infrastructure upgrades. Those costs are generally always passed on to the consumers, to the residents. That results in higher energy bills. The data centers have also secured long-term power agreements, which reduces the availability supply and pushes up prices for consumers. They get their own special. As far as climate and energy, noise pollution, I know we've talked about the hum from the generators. That can exceed sometimes 90 decibels is what I have found. And as far as the noise pollution, air pollution, water pollution, which we'll get more into, and the impact on the land. So the energy demands of the centers are also prolonging the operations of fuel fossil plants, which most of the states have been trying to go to cleaner energy. This is prolonging. As far as the water discharge concerns, the Ohio EPA, which we live in, EPA, drafted a permit which allows data centers to discharge untreated cooling wastewater into state lakes and streams, which can result in the release of toxic substances, including PFASs, which are known as forever chemicals, the chemicals that don't break down ever, they are forever in our systems. And on March 31st of last year, 2026, Amazon agreed to pay $20.5 million to settle a class action suit which alleged that its data center in Morrow County, Oregon, contributed to severe groundwater contamination of nitrates. The nitrate oxygens are linked to cancer deaths. They are linked to culinary conditions and are linked to mostly respiratory illnesses. There have been an increase in diseases near and around data centers. They also have an ineffective tax incentives. Data centers do not deliver on their tax breaks as promised. They reduce local tax revenues while shifting financial burdens onto communities and schools. The data centers generate revenue through property sales and use taxes. However, many states, like Ohio, and many cities offer large tax incentives to attract data centers, which means the actual gains are smaller than projected. Therefore, schools, data centers put a significant burden on local school districts. We all know our schools have enough struggles, they don't need any more. And so they put the burden on the local school districts through a combination of tax revenue reductions and strain on public infrastructures. Data centers are often tax exempt. They pay little to no property taxes, and therefore the financial responsibility for public services is shifted to the residents, which equals higher tax rates or reduction of services. As far as property values usually are 10 to 15% decline after a data center is built in their community. As the average lifespan of a data center, the average lifespan of these data centers that are being built is only 10 to 15 years. They outgrow them. Then these buildings are left as a problem for the community to take care of. Think IX Center in Cleveland.
Well,
The
thank you.
negative impact that that's having on Cleveland now. These are large, specialized buildings. How are you going to sell that property? Who else is ever going to go in that property? This now is left for the community to take care of. And as far as looking at all of it, from what I can see, there is very little benefit to the community and to the residents versus what it costs the residents and the community.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. And to, and to make a comment to the PFAS, those chemicals that we're concerned about, that is a concern when we talk about the water that's going to be pushing through our water plant. I visited yesterday. Our water superintendent was so kind to answer a lot of questions for me. But there's something called turbidity. So when the water comes into the plant, when it rushes in, there's this moment where the water kind of shuffles up. And they do, during that time, they inject these chemicals, which I think we're all familiar with chlorine, but there's other things that they need that water to settle in order to treat it for other things that could potentially be into our water, like cryptosporidium was a concern. So if we have constant extra volume of water rushing into the treatment plant, there is not going to be that downtime. There's a risk that we are going to have contaminated water, not just with chemicals, but with more biological agents that put us at risk, our pets at risk, with these different things. So thank you for bringing that up, because that was part of the tour yesterday. Yes. So, Mr. Hollingsworth, I know that you had your hand up to talk.
Hello, my name is Will Hollingsworth. I work at Reed Memorial Library, and thank you all for hearing me today. I'm not a cynic when it comes to technology. My love for it started when my uncle first sat me down at a beige Windows 95 computer and began teaching me HTML. I will never forget the first thing I Googled. It was an image search for pigs flying. I wanted to see if the internet could make the impossible real. This love of the digital shaped my career as I went on to become a programmer and a professional content creator. For the last decade and a half, I have been in service of learning burgeoning technology. In my last job, I was the digital artist they trusted to do that kind of work. I was the one feeding Midjourney prompts to create the perfect commercial, training the very machine that would eventually replace me, as 3 months later, they would lay me off. I didn't just watch it happen, I was holding the tools when the tools were turned on me. I want to stress, I don't stand here as an enemy of progress. The thing is, when I look at the data center proposal, I don't see progress. I see a gamble where the big tech companies get the gold while Portage County foots the bill. Now, I know there are good faith arguments for this project. There are people in our community, informed, honest people, who will tell you that the modern data centers use what's called a closed loop system. They say the water is filled once and recycled forever. In a laboratory, that might be true, but we aren't living in a laboratory. We're living in Ohio. I can tell you that as the chips get smaller and AI demands get larger, the heat these machines generate is outstripping the closed loop theory. To keep the servers from melting, a data center has to bleed the lines to remove toxic sludge, aka forever chemicals, and bleeding water needs to be evaporated. It does not stay in the loop. It evaporates into the sky by millions of gallons. The very place that laid me off was an organic mattress company, and while working for them, I actually learned a lot about forever chemicals. I got to see how the sausage gets made. I saw the inside of those so-called regulations. I saw how rigorous studies are often self-funded, a pay-to-play model where if you've got the cash, they'll give you the certificate. If a $1 trillion company is funding the study that says their forever chemical runoff won't hit our water table, they aren't giving us the science, they're giving us a sales pitch. We're told that we have to accept this because we need big employers. We're told that if we don't say yes, we're driving away the future. But that's a false choice. A big employer who uses the water of 50,000 people, which by the way is a combination of both Kent and Ravenna, only hires about 10 people is not an employer. They are an extraction. We are being asked to fund a 21st century luxury with a 19th century resource heist. We are being asked to sacrifice the lifeblood of our city so a $1 trillion company can save a fraction of a cent on its margins. We're being asked to drain our reservoirs so a chatbot can write a poem or so our sheriff can generate a picture of himself standing next to Bigfoot. Which, by the way, of course, he made himself look taller. They want us to trust a $1 trillion industry that tells us with a straight face that they can suck 5 million gallons of water out of our ground a day, use it as a liquid heat sink, and return it to our rivers without a single consequence. They are asking for a measured approach while they hide their actual usage behind secret contracts and NDAs. Ohioans have seen this trick played before. We know what happens when massive utility interests and black box energy deals gets fast-tracked behind closed doors. We're still paying the bill, literally, for the first energy scandal. We were told these bailouts were essential and measured too, and it turned out to be the largest racketeering plot in the history of our state. So when a trillion-dollar company asks for our water, our electricity, and our silence, we shouldn't just be asking for the facts. We should be asking who's really getting the kickback, and why is it our reservoir that's on the line? There is a reason the Ohio House just voted 88-0 to pause and study this industry. It wasn't an act of cynicism, it was an act of stewardship. They realize we cannot let these ghost towns move in then before we understand the damage they do to our grid and our water table. We are the county seat. We are the stewards of the Great Lakes Basin. Let Ravenna be the city that had the wisdom to say no to the bubble and yes to the basin. I am not a cynic when it comes to technology. I am a believer in community. I believe that a drop of clean water for a Ravenna child is worth more than 1 billion AI-generated images. Let us choose the child. Let us choose the community. Let us choose to keep our water where it belongs. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, who wants to follow that? Oh, we got, all right.
All right, here we go. There's a lot of big words in here, and I apologize for that.
You can move it up. There you go.
Your
Then I
name,
have to stay
your name,
closer to the
please?
podium. My name is Donald Rankin. You may know me as Donnie. I am a lifelong resident of Ravenna who's dedicated more than 2/3 of my life to sound, specifically music. My primary instrument is the organ, and in the past 20 years, I've had the ability to perform in 32 different states, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. I've been everywhere. I'm going to use this as an example. The Grand Ophicleide is the loudest 85 pipes in the world's largest organ, which contains 33,112. When you're tuning one of those pipes, you have to wear earplugs, earmuffs, and keep your mouth closed to avoid hearing damage. Where am I going with this? Trust me, I'll get there. So many people are familiar with the aforementioned hum around data centers, but the sounds we can't hear are the sounds that can be the most harmful. The human range of hearing is approximately 30 hertz to 20,000 hertz, but sounds below 20 hertz are considered infrasound. Infrasound is naturally occurring. Sources include the wind, earthquakes, and even geomagnetic storms. I think it's easy for all of us to understand that lower frequencies travel further. For instance, from here you can hear the low rumble of a train crossing Chestnut or Lake Street, but you must be much closer to hear the high-frequency squeal of wheel flanges on the rail. Controlled close proximity research has been done on infrasound and has discovered that prolonged exposure can lead to dizziness, anxiety, nausea, fatigue, hearing damage, sleep disorders, cognitive dysfunction, and, this is a mouthful, ultrastructure cardiac damage, calcium channel dysregulation, and impaired mitochondrial adenosine triphosphate production. The resulting calcium overload and reduced sarcoendoplasmic reticulum calcium ATP ACE2 expression disrupts the cardiac contraction relaxation cycle, contributing to comprised cardiac performance. Yeah, got it. What's important about that, those changes are noticeable within 1 hour of exposure to high sound pressure levels of infrasound. My initials may be DR. I am not a doctor. Those that did the research were. Whatever I just read, you can tell it's legit. The power at which data centers emit infrasound is deeply concerning. Recorded digitally using the same microphone and recording settings, average infrasound output in various settings across multiple locations is negative 53 decibels relative to full scale. Infrasound levels outside XAI's Colossus data center in Memphis measured negative 15 decibels relative to full scale. Decibels follow a logarithmic scale, and thus a difference of 38 decibels represents an increase in sound pressure levels of over 6,300 times the base. Remember, lower pitches travel further. Members of communities with data centers often report some of the symptoms above as far away as 1 mile from the data center. Considering the proposed data center location, what I've shared with you should be alarming. Besides the hospital across the street, the school board has begun exploring an addition to house students K through 12 at the current Ravenna High School campus. This data center could subject our town's youth to infrasound 6 to 7 hours per day, 5 days a week, more if they have extracurricular activities for 12 to 13 years of their life. I can only say so much in a limited period. Just know that abundant research about the negative impacts of data centers is out there, and the strong opposition of a local data center is in this room and all across Ravenna.
Well done. And he's a Ravenna High School graduate himself. Ravenna proud, right there.
All right, anybody else would like to? I'm sorry, actually, I'll have Mr., do you mind if Mr. Hairston goes? We defer to you, Mr. Hairston.
My name is Frank Hairston. I live at 3887.
We need you on the microphone because we are.
We can hand you the
live
mic,
streaming.
too. It is-
You can detach it.
Yeah, you can just hand him, it's
Thank
wireless.
you, Cliff, thank you.
Yeah, we could even take it out to people.
That's, you know what, that's a better
Class of
idea.
71. My name is Frank Hairston. I'm your neighbor. I live at 3887 Lovers Lane. So the streets that were mentioned, I live right around the corner from where the possibility this thing might go in. I'm here today because I'm very concerned, and I've been reading about data centers for quite a while, and it's very disturbing to me what can happen in our community. And when I say our community, I'm talking about all of Ravenna, not just Ravenna City. All of Ravenna. Rutschtown. I'm from in Ravenna Township, yes, sir. That's why I'm here, because I live right around the corner. And the things I hear about the noise really upsets me. And also what upsets me is the water. Now, I represent the Skills and McArrows communities who are on the water for the city of Ravenna. So if that water gets contaminated, those are the communities I serve. I'm very concerned about that, and we all should. But what else is concerned, you need to concern all the people that maybe not on city water, but the groundwater that we have. We need to be very concerned about this as neighbors, Ravenna and Ravenna Township. So that's why I'm here today, to let you know this is just not it don't stop at the city limits. It goes into the township, or the township into the city. And some of us need to stand up, speak out about these issues. Thank you.
Thank
You want to hand
can-
the mic?
you can
Why don't
pass
you,
it around.
anybody that wants to talk next, get the mic. How's that? That might be easier.
In the black hat back there. I'm sorry, I hate to identify people by what they're wearing and stuff, but I don't know your name. I'll find out in a second, though.
Hi, my name is Sam Schultz.
Hi, Sam.
I did not have a speech prepared, but I am a volunteer with Portage Residents for Responsible Development, as well as Conserve Ohio. Conserve Ohio is distributing a petition to block the construction of data centers above 25 megawatts statewide. We need all the signatures we can get. We're also looking for volunteers to help circulate these things. So if you are concerned about the construction of data centers in this community and statewide, follow us on Facebook, where we will be collecting signatures in the hallway after this meeting. Yeah, just talk to us, and we'll get you signed up to volunteer or help out. Thank you.
Sam, I'm so glad that you are here, because the amount of people who have emailed me, texted me, and said, where can I sign this petition for the state of Ohio? I'm like, I don't know. I've seen it in the other counties, so thank you.
The library tomorrow, or Saturday, I think, at 2 o'clock?
We are doing training, we are not doing signing.
Okay, sorry.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, yeah, we just started volunteering like a week ago. So yeah, we're just getting things going. We're just starting this, but it's going to get a lot bigger.
Okay.
Oh.
No, it's
sorry.
not
On
tomorrow.
Saturday.
Saturday.
There's
Sorry,
a
I just
training.
heard-
Can anybody just show up for that, or did you have to pre-register for the training to work on the petitions?
We do have limited spots available for the training. So I'm not sure where we're at right now. If you'd like to come, please RSVP on our Facebook group. Again, our group name is Portage Residents for Responsible Development, so that we know we get the right amount of people in the room, and we know how many starter kits that we need to have ready to go. As far as I know, we still had plenty of space left to go, but I don't want to overwhelm the library, as we are using their space for that.
Okay.
That is also where
So we're going to be training petition circulators tomorrow, and those folks are going to be our core group to get the word out, get the petition out. I mean, obviously, we have them in hand here tonight as well. From tomorrow onward, we're going to be moving fast and hard once we get these boots on the ground, so to speak. We need to be with them when they get signed, but we'll be here for as long as we need to. Whoever is willing to wait. If you're not willing to wait today, or you have something to get to, we're gonna have lots more. Again, follow us if you can on Facebook, or sign up for updates on Conserve Ohio, as we're gonna be blasting all of our alerts out to as many platforms as we can, for as many signing events as we can get. Like I said, once we get our core group trained, we expect to have a lot of things happening here in the next few weeks.
And am I correct that there's at least 400,000 signatures required by July?
Total, yeah, I think it's 413,000 is the minimum.
Okay.
The goal is in the 600,000 range, just due to attrition.
Right.
Yeah, so we're hoping to get as many as we can, and we have signings happening in all 88 counties over the next 3 months.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we have other hands. Put your hands up, and we'll try to limit it a little bit with some of the talking, because we don't want to be here until real late, obviously. But I do want everyone to say what they're having to say. It's Carmen's meeting.
Because we do need to vote too.
Yes, we do still have to vote. But go ahead, continue talking. I'm sorry.
Commissioner Tinlin, do you want to speak, or are you leaving?
I gotta go.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
Mm-hmm.
Good afternoon. Thank you for letting me speak. My name's Miriam. We live on 711 Fairview Street. So this would be like basically in our backyard. I guess I'm kind of speaking for just the ordinary people here in this community. It's kind of sad to think that this is even a consideration for this town. We have people in this town struggling to pay their bills as it is right now. Can you imagine the electric, the water, and what this is going to do to these people in this community who can barely afford what's going on right now? And there's been a huge hike with all of these electric, all of our, electric bill and our water bill. I feel like, why are we considering this for our community? What is it that the common ordinary folks here, what are we going to get out of it? You're right, nothing. I get it's for the community. I get there's going to be money, but nothing is going to be for everybody in here. It's kind of sad that we're actually even considering it. That's all I had to say.
I want to make it clear that the city's we are not hoping these things are coming here. They are coming, and we are trying to have a conversation, to go through the process we need to go through legally to completely diminish our risk of any of this happening. This is not something that we are proponents of. So, but I mean, private business can do what private business does, but then we need to do our job as legislators.
And people that have property can do
Yes.
it's legal whatever they choose to do on their property. So it becomes a fine line, but we want to make sure whatever the state decides, and we want to make sure that we have some guidelines and more knowledge, because right now everything is very, very gray. So.
My name is Denise Beets, and I'm from Manaway Township. Don't throw anything at me. I just want y'all to know that we're all behind you, as you are behind us. It's Portage County overall. It's not just
Yes.
Ravenna or anywhere else, just in that area. And with all the aquifers around here, nobody knows how much water we really have. I have a well. They could run us dry and leave because they don't care. We were told by the trustees I went to the Shalersville meeting last week, and their trustees were told by Geis, who built that monstrosity at the turnpike right there. They were told by Geis lawyers that they can drill as many wells as they want to, and there's nothing we can do about it. And that's the truth. We can't stop them. Our famous Governor Mike DeWine just gave a $4.5 million tax abatement to one of these centers in Akron, and you know what he got? 10 jobs. And as Denise and everybody else said, these jobs are permanent. They're not permanent. They come in, they destroy our natural resources, and then they leave their monstrosities behind for us to worry about. The only way that we're going to stop this kind of thing, we're small change. They don't care about us. We're all small change. Sign these petitions. Go to every meeting you can. Write to your governor for all the good he is. Write to whomever you need to. But this thing is political. You know, I'm not gonna make it political. And whether you're a Trump fan or not, Biden fan or not, it doesn't matter. This has to do with Stargate, Trump's Stargate. And as that other gentleman said, I'm not against technology. You know, I have a computer, I have a cell phone like everybody else does, but these things don't need to be built in our communities. The reason they're doing it is because they don't have to pay to clear the land. It's already there. They don't have to pay for water. They don't have to pay for electricity. Oh, they have a way to, you know, build these substations to provide their own electricity. Well, then fine, go do it in the middle of Montana somewhere. You know, go places where they're not going to get a tax abatement. They won't do it because it costs them too much money. The only one profiting from these places are the data center owners. And what they're doing is gathering all our data. Nothing's private anymore. They know everything about everybody. It's got nothing to do with a community. There is absolutely no benefit to a community where these data centers are built. Nothing.
Well, thank you, and thank you for coming from Manaway Township. And then thank you. You've been waiting patiently in the back, so thank you.
Hi, I came here prepared to make a speech, but everybody's done such a great job, I have very little left to say, which might probably make everybody pretty happy.
What's your name?
My name is Donald Rankin, also. Proud Papa. But anyway, a couple of things that were touched on, but not very much was said about them, is these data centers are not only propping up, bad energy generation, practices like coal and oil and gas and nuclear power. I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but nuclear power plants are another thing that are being rapidly built. Whereas we had decided back before my hair was all turning white that nuclear power was something we should never delve into again. That's still going to be generating atomic waste. So this is a planetary problem. Amongst others that it's creating. The generators, gas turbines, those are jet engines, like on a jet aircraft. They have to be configured a little bit differently to sit and do their job on the ground, but we know how those roar and stink. And those are the alternative. When they can't sap enough from our power grid, they turn those things on. They also use diesel generators, and not diesels like is in your truck, but diesels that are 3-5 times as big as the one in your truck. So a lot of particulates, a lot of nitrous oxide, a lot of things that just ain't good breathing. And also, what are these for? What problems are they going to solve? Well, one thing is they can't even solve the problems they create. So what are they here to do? What will they achieve? Well, they might achieve people like Elon Musk or Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg getting very, very rich before it all collapses. The data centers, the components in the computer data banks in there last about 2 or 3 years, and we'll be generating a tremendous amount of e-waste, as those will have to be cyclically replaced. I mean, they won't last very long. So those are just a few of the things that I thought of that hadn't already been touched on in depth. And I'm really glad to see everyone here. I'm glad it was so hard to find a parking place. And I'm glad you're on it, Ravenna. I mean, this really is something that shouldn't be entered into until it's really well understood what's happening here.
Thank you. And my comments Monday night was I really want Ravenna to be proactive and not reactive. You're in a much more defensible position being proactive. All right, we gotta vote here soon. So
I'll keep it very brief. My name is Leo Diamantis. I'm also I'm actually up from Aurora, but I've been traveling across the county and speaking with our state legislators, amongst others, about this issue. So very glad to see all of the turnout here tonight. Something that hasn't been focused on as much, perhaps because you've seen so much of it, is the energy cost. This is not something that's theoretical. Your energy bills have already gone up, and it is because of the data centers. Our grid operator holds capacity auctions to make sure there is enough power available for your home to be powered. Their capacity auction prices have already gone up over 1,000% because of data center construction on the grid. This is not something that is coming. This is something that is already impacting your energy bill, and putting another one right here in Ravenna is going to make it far worse, not only for you, but for those of us in Portage County and nearby. So very glad to see that there's so much support for keeping this under control. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My name
I
is
can see
Rachel
back
Dean, and I have worked for the EPA now for going on 16 years in May. And when I want to let you guys know that I've probably tested every vehicle in this room. So you've all had to visit me at the Not Fun Car Wash, and I apologize deeply because, but as someone who has worked there as long, and I'm Ravenna born. Both my children are born here in Ravenna. So every human life in this room is more important to me than any tech, even though I love tech. But when I'm telling you do not trust them, I'm telling you the way a mother of a child would tell you not to trust them because of the things that have already happened in our state. It's very easy to go back and do your research and look at what happened in Flint, Michigan. Look at what happened in here. This is beyond money. This is human lives. And we have this long to live. And the most important currency is time.
Yes. Well, thank you. We just have one more in the back over here. I apologize, I didn't see you. Thank you, Amy, for letting me know she was over there. Oh, wait, she's right here, over here.
Hi, I'm Sue Tuttle, and I am from Shalersville. I have two very quick things, one of which is our trustees will share any information they have learned with any community. The second thing is basically, please share likely. And I will go directly to the first three speakers and ask if you could give me what you had to say, either by email or to the to the trustees directly. That's it.
Thank you very much.
So to let you know, this is all on YouTube, so if anybody wants to share or have this information or to hear the people speaking, this will be available on YouTube and on our website.
So could we take just this gentleman's comment real quick, and then I'd like to vote. Oh, okay.
Why can't we say no?
What do you mean?
Why can't we say no to these people? Just say no. Look at this room today. Look what's going on. You're saying we have to talk about this. Why can't we just say no?
Well,
we can say no to strip clubs. We can say no to adult bookstores. We can say no to casinos. We can say no to bars. Why can't we say no? That's all I want to know.
I can answer that question for you because we can say no a lot faster and make it a law than a citizens initiative process. We can do this. We could do this in the next few weeks. Where a citizens process, and I've done it before, but I'm telling you right now, and I hope that you're reading the tea leaves, that we don't support it and that we plan on saying no on our legislative level and putting it on. So, yes. So you don't have to go through that process.
Keep in mind that this meeting right here is just the planning committee meeting. So
Right.
there's three of us that sit on the planning committee. If we decide to move this forward, then it goes to committee of the whole, which is next 2 weeks from now.
No,
and
it's next
that's
Monday.
Next Monday,
Yes.
which is all of council. So right now, this meeting that we're holding is technically just the planning committee meeting where we're discussing the information. So the three of us will vote whether we want to move it forward or not.
But it's the first step in the process.
Correct.
And we do plan on moving this forward, as we discussed too in the last meeting that we had this past Monday. So, go ahead.
I'll be quick. Josh, I just got to say, I love the passion. I love everyone that showed up, standing room. Appreciate you allowing us in here. So round of applause all to us for showing up. So There's not much more to say. I just wanted to mention one thing that, I kind of thought of as well. She had mentioned you work for E-Check, you think you said? Okay. Again, with all these data centers coming, my concern with the air quality, as far as the EPA, what mandates and policies will they then, because our air quality will start to diminish, what policies and mandates are they then going to put on us as citizens even further hurt us? Again, whether it be financially, whether it be certain regulations and things that we have to do. So we have to keep that in consideration as well. If the quality of our air starts to diminish, which it's been improving, E-Check, for example, how many 8 out of 88 counties, or 7 or 8 that are required to do this? And I believe we've reached a point, if I'm not mistaken, I read something recently, we've reached a point where air quality is great. It's improved over the years. Again, will this take us backwards? And then because of that, then what policies and mandates and things are going to then be put on us as citizens that are going to, again, further make it hard for us to just live our daily lives? Gas has gone up. Electricity's gone up. Water's going up. Property tax has gone up. How much more can we demand from the citizens, especially in Ravenna here?
Yeah.
That's my question. That's it.
So I want to recognize one more speaker. It's this little girl in the back. And I think that this is a great way to end, because you know what? This is the future here.
Yeah.
And then we will take our vote. So go ahead. What's your
Thank
name?
you. I just wanted to ask about animals. Are they okay? Like the ones drinking the water and the ones in the water?
So as a person who rescues animals, actually several of us on council have our pets. That is something that I'm concerned about when it comes with the water, because right now Ravenna has an admirable operation going on where we treat our water so those types of things don't happen. One of the reasons that I am against these data centers is because I want to keep that great water quality intact so that things like that do not happen. So, but they're not unsafe right now at this time, but this is something that weighs on me. And I know, I just look out there and I know we got tons. She has a new puppy at home, and Amy's got dogs. I've got a herd of cats. I've got, 7 of them now we have, but we're looking out for them too, believe me. So thank you for your comment, and thank you for coming. It's great when young people get involved in the process. So-
Carmen, also thank you, sorry. So once the process is, it goes to committee of a whole, and then when it goes to council for a vote, it does require 5 votes.
Because this will be on as emergency.
It'll be, so 5 people have to vote for it.
Oh, wait, we have one more. Is this a sibling? You must be so proud, Mom. You must be so proud. What's your name?
Oh, Randy Ryan Dean.
Okay. Hi, Randy.
So what I wanted to touch on is that, like, it's not only leaving chemicals and stuff in our atmosphere and in our water, which are hurting the animals. It's also like affecting our children too, because they watch like stuff on the internet and they disguise like gore and stuff as like silly jokes online. And so that's another thing that I wanted to touch on.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your comment. And I don't know if you can, the microphone, Cliff, do you know how to reattach this thing?
Christy?
Okay, thank you very much.
Did you have anything you want to say?
I'm going to ask my committee to take a vote, and so what this will do, we'll move it on to the next step of the process. So to vote for to move it to committee of the whole, right?
Correct.
All right, so all in favor
Yes.
of moving this
Yes.
forward? Aye. And this is to talk about a moratorium, to discuss further a moratorium on data centers.
Correct.
Move it forward.
Move it forward. Okay, so we are all in favor.
Yes.
So thank you, everybody. Don't forget about the petition.
Wait,
Just
hold
so
on one
we're
second.
clear about the process, now that the committee has voted unanimously, the committee of the whole meeting will be at 6 o'clock on April 20th. It'll be on the agenda for the entire, because that was just 3 members of council. For the entire committee or council, committee of the whole, to have the opportunity to vote, to move it forward for an official vote of council. Now, I had already planned a special meeting for that night following the committee of the whole. And I want to ask if it's the desire of the chair to include it on the special meeting so that council can take a formal vote that same night.
It is absolutely the desire of the chair.
So now, be clear, procedurally, it still needs to get through the committee of the whole.
Correct.
So it'll be on the agenda as a placeholder in case committee of the whole does affirmatively move it forward. If so, then on the 20th, this council can vote whether or not to put in place. And by the way, did you say the time period for the moratorium?
I'm going to propose 12 months.
Okay, I want to make sure we have the details so that the law director can prepare the ordinance correctly.
Okay, thank you, yes.
So that's going to be the process. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for coming.
If you guys have any other issues, please email your council members. We are reading everything. Thank you.